For more on RFK Jr.'s endorsement and today's developments in the Middle East, let's bring in our political panel. Joining me now is Republican strategist Lauren Tomlinson and Can We Talk podcast host Mike Leon. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Great to have you. So let's start with RFK Jr. and whether he was promised a job in a future Trump administration.
No, there's been no commitments. But I met with President Trump, with his family, with his closer advisors, and we just made a general commitment that we were going to work together.
Mike, what do you make of the timing of his dropping out from the race and the impact potentially in November?
Hey, Mike, good to see you first and foremost. This is going to be really pivotal because I think he mentioned a couple things there with Shannon that were really crucial, which is he was going to take himself off of the ballot in some of the key swing state races. And we know that, for example, in Arizona, mostly independent voters. There are over 1.5 million registered independent voters where RFK would potentially make a difference. And you look at North Carolina as well with what happened with the uncommitted vote this past year in the Democratic primary. So the fact that RFK has announced that he's going to be taking himself off of those states and still trying to at least make an impact in terms of the deep red, deep blue states and stay on those ballots to kind of show what he mentioned to Shannon, which is the frustration of not having access and being able to participate in the debates or get on television access across the different outlets. So I make of it that, we're all going to find out how this plays out, but I do think that he could move some of these independent voters, like a state like Arizona, to potentially vote for Trump in November.
Lauren, what about that? In a tight race, is it possible RFK's endorsement could be the difference for President Trump?
I think so, because this race comes down to, or it seemingly continues to come down to, who is truly the incumbent right now and which candidate represents change. And Kamala has tried again and again to distance herself from the incumbency, to say that she hasn't been in office for the past 3.5 years, and to be the joy and hope candidate. But I think what RFK Jr.'s endorsement does is it puts Trump back to where he was in 2016 as an anti-establishment, fresh up-and-comer who is going to provide different solutions than what people are seeing right now. And that could make all of the difference in this election for double haters and disgruntled voters who don't necessarily want to see things continue the way that they are. And so RFK kind of signifies this message that I'm banding with the other anti-establishment candidate, the change candidate, and we will make your lives better.
The reaction of some of the Kennedy family members was pretty brutal. Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce called out 5 of the siblings, saying, "You people are awful. The moment one of your own acts on his conscience for this country, you attempt to throw him to the wolves and publicly condemn him. Americans are happy to see Bobby on our side as we refuse to comply and will not go gentle into the catastrophes to which we are expected to succumb." What about the fallout of the RFK endorsement, Mike?
Well, the fallout from his family has been happening for the past few years, and including with his wife, which he mentioned on Twitter in terms of, not agreeing with her about backing former President Trump. Look, I think RFK, unfortunately, is one of these type of political candidates, Mike, where it's just he has the right message. He's just not saying it or communicating it properly when it comes to certain issues. He mentioned in the interview with Shannon that he had tried to reach out to the Harris campaign. He was unsuccessful, and the Trump campaign welcomed him with open arms. The problem is that the Harris campaign has a couple different issues, policy position-wise, that I don't think would have aligned with RFK. So back to the overarching question of who voters will he potentially impact, it would only make sense for him to go to Trump, because when this all started, we all were saying that whose votes would he take away? Would he take away Biden's or Trump's? Most people were in agreement that he would probably take away Trump's because of the alignment on some of the different policy issues, and he mentioned it in the interview with Shannon.
The 5 Kennedy siblings in a statement called their brother Bobby's decision to endorse Trump a betrayal of the values that their father and their family hold most dear. Lauren, are the siblings out of line?
I hate to weigh in on family disagreements, but as he said, he has some members that are working for him, some that are publicly out there. And, I think it signifies that, we value debate and disagreement, and that leads better outcomes. And so for RFK to be out there and joining with Trump and continuing to debate and have more of a platform for his ideas, I think ultimately lends us to a better place.
Briefly, do you think he gets a job, Lauren?
I do, but I think it's him and Elon Musk, and there's a bunch of names floating out there. So I think that he'll end up forming some sort of role.
Lauren Tomlinson, Mike Leon. Mike, I spy the Rutgers Block R on your lapel. Well done. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Mike.